Hello and welcome back to Supernova. We will be continuing where we left off, which, if you recall, is after the protagonist Nick here decided to pick his mentor, which would be Superfang, or Vince, I believe is his name, as his mentor. And needless to say that Unbound and the Baron in Black were a little like, really? Are you sure? And Vince was like, well, yeah, I mean, I may be new, but like I know what he has to expect. And even Nick was like, who best to show me the ropes? Because it seemed that Nisus here didn't really seem all too keen on being Nick's mentor. I don't know why though, but I kind of get the sense that he maybe doesn't do well with crowds or social situations, because I mean, even when Nick described him, he was a bit like he's the superhero in the back. He doesn't stand out because he doesn't want to stand out apparently, and you don't even know his powers. But yeah, so let's hope that the tiger is the good choice. I mean, he's cute enough. Anyways, so let's begin and see what happens. The quad is fairly crowded. It's mid-afternoon, after all. Several students are just lounging on the grass, reading or chatting. I head into my dorm building, messaging Lucas that I'm back. He doesn't respond while I take the elevator ride to our floor. I've somehow managed to retain the keys to our suite. When I open the door, I see a blur of movement. I have barely any time to react before I'm half-hugged, half-tackled by my wolf roommate. Hey, ow! Dude, you're gonna crush my ribs! Lucas laughs at that, the vibration passing from his chest into mine. Sorry, just glad you're, good. I feel a little awkward. Lucas tends to be quite open with his feelings, but he's never been this openly affectionate. I am indeed good. I grin as he slaps me on the back. Careful, asshole, I'm still sore. It's good to be back. If only for a moment, I can forget about the craziness behind and ahead of me. I sit down on my chair and turn to face Lucas. But, yeah, for real though, I was losing my mind before you texted me. I'm so touched. Lucas chucks a pillow at me. I catch it, laughing, but I don't throw it back. Okay, I'm just happy we both made it out of there. Yeah. That was insane. Oh, you don't know the half of it. Not that I'll be explaining what actually happened, even if Unbound hadn't instructed me to keep quiet. I know how dumb that would be. What the hell was up with that hospital anyway, not letting us visit and shit? I shrug and try to divert the topic. Us? Well, yeah, your parents too. I spoke a bunch with your mom. How did you even get her number? Jess has it, dummy, from last summer. Oh, that's right, I had forgotten about that. I texted her back. By the way, she should be over soon. I perk up at that. Jessica Wilder became part of our little power trio late into freshman year, and we've been almost inseparable since. You're looking good, all things considered. Thank you. I consider myself quite a handsome raccoon. Maybe handsome for a raccoon. Hey! Lucas isn't quite as swift to catch the thrown pillow, and it smacks him in the muzzle. Before he can retaliate, there's a knock on the door, so I give him a smirk while he gets up to open it. Nick! Jessie unceremoniously pushes Lucas out of the way and charges right at me. The chair almost tips over, threatening to send both of us to the floor as she throws herself onto my lap and gives me another rib-crushing hug. Fuck, are you two trying to kill me? Oh, shut up. I'm just happy to see you. She squeezes once before jumping nimbly off me. The lynx pauses to look me over with a critical eye. Her face then splits into a grin again. You pushed me. Well, you were in my way. I was opening the door for you. Lucas continues to pout, rubbing his elbow in, and I burst out laughing. It's so good to see them again. How are you, Nick? I'm fine, nothing broken, as you can see. She eyes me up and down, then nods, satisfied. Looks like it. Good. You kept us pretty worried for a bit there. Jess plants herself on the couch. So then, what have you two dummies learned from this experience? Don't help Lucas with projects he should have completed a month ago. Look up at the sky every time we're out, just in case there's supervillains flying at you. Stay away from shitty, unfinished construction projects. Don't stay with Nick somewhere just because he likes the view. Wow, dick. Very good, very good. Seems we have internalized some valuable life lessons after all. Jess puts on a mock voice, like she's lecturing a class of 3rd graders. Indeed, ma'am. I'll be honest, at first when Lucas told me what happened, I thought it was some dumb prank. Yeah, took a while to convince her. Trust me, it was very real. And as batshit crazy as it sounds. Lucas turns to me, suddenly serious. So, what happened after the stairs collapsed? You never told me. It's all kind of a blur, as I told you. Templar and the other one were fighting, stuff was flying around. They kept smashing through the walls and shit, so I had to keep running from one place to the next to keep myself hidden. I guess at some point I got smacked in the head and I knocked me out. I woke up in a hospital. Lucas is wearing that same pained expression I saw in the condo that day. Fuck, dude. I should have found a way up there. Don't be stupid. You were right to get out while you could. I nod in agreement. Lucas is beating himself up over complete nonsense. There was nothing he could have done. He would have just gotten himself killed. The wolf lets out a heavy sigh. Come on, you know you couldn't help me there anyway. Yeah, I guess. Jess cuts in to change the topic. You ready for midterms? Yes, I got so much studying done. Alright, don't get snippy. Did you at least ask for extensions? Yeah, emailed all my professors. While I was at the hospital, I got an extra week for my papers, and they rescheduled my Tuesday exam for Friday. Wow, unfair. The one extension they gave me was for my independent project, since, my footage is lost. Well, and nieces asked me not to spread the word about what happened at the construction. Oh, I had forgotten about that. I glance over at Jess. Noticing this, Lucas starts to shake his head. Well, I had to tell Jess, dude. It's not like she'll tell anyone. Duh. I'm a little uneasy about this. Nieces is nice, but I doubt he'll like Lucas blabbing, even to another close friend of mine. Speaking of... An all too familiar mischievous grin is tugging at Lucas's muzzle. You're telling me you were unconscious when Superfang carried you off in his strong, muscular arms? Jess snickers. Shit, Nick. That must have been heartbreaking. My bemused expression seems to entertain them all the more. Haha, look at the pro comedians over here. Oh, come on. You know you would have loved that, had you been awake. I flip the bird at them both, even though a part of me knows they're not entirely wrong. Vince is rather handsome. That doesn't mean, however, that I want him to bridal carry me anywhere. Even if he does have those strong, muscular arms Lucas mentioned. Fuck, where the hell am I going with this? Focus, damn it. Yeah, and what about you, enjoying getting a close look at nieces? You know what? Not half bad. Shorter than I expected, but what little I could see under the cowl was cute. What did you even see? The tip of his nose? I think I spotted his whiskers peeking out too. Alright boys, you can fawn over your saviors some other time. What I want to find out is, do we know what happened to Templar? I blink. Templar. Templar is dead. And also, I'm Templar. I'm sure he's fine. He seemed to be winning the fight when I was knocked out. I try to sound casual, but I'm not convinced I pulled it off. Well, the other dude flew off a couple minutes before Superfang got there. For all we know, he might have, finished a job and left. I feel my breathing grow faster as I shake my head. I think Templar just drove him off before his teammates arrived. Hope so. Besides, the supervillain wouldn't have left you alive, right? Right. I hate lying to them like this. Shit, this is harder than I thought it would be. Fortunately, the conversation shifts to something else again, and I just let Lucas and Jess chatter while I think. After half an hour or so, Jess excuses herself, telling us she needs to study and reminding me to do the same. I smile and wave at the Lynx as she leaves. You still owe me dinner, by the way. The wolf lets out a rumbling laugh. After all the time I spent reassuring your parents? You know what? Fair. We'll call it even. The rest of the day is uneventful. I catch up on some work that I have access to on my laptop. It's a little strange to be back in my dorm room, worrying about papers and exams when just this morning I was in the secret base of an actual superhero team. The school stuff still seems rather distant right now, and my thoughts inevitably turn to Templar's funeral. The Baron wasn't wrong. I don't know anything about the Badger who wore this bracelet before me. Nothing about his life, who he is, what he was like. Yet he entrusted me with his power, his armor. This is just an opportunity for me to honor him in my own small way. I should have asked Vince about him while we were driving, instead of reminiscing about high school stuff. I suppose I can ask him tomorrow when he picks me up. Eventually, I wander over to the showers. When I return, Lucas gives me a curious glance. What's that? He's pointing at the bracelet. Shit, I keep forgetting it's there. I wish it had even a tiny bit of weight to it. It's a gift from a friend. The wolf frowns. Oh, when did you get it? At the hospital. I realize my answer was dumb before Lucas even asks the next question. Huh? I thought it was no visitors allowed. He, didn't visit me. He works there. Someone I knew in high school. I can tell by the way the wolf's ears are moving around that I'm doing a piss-poor job with the story. Good friend? Kinda? He looks at the bracelet, then back at me. Is there a point to this? Oh, sorry. I was just curious. It's just a cheap bracelet, Lucas. Anyway, night. Okay. Good night. With a nod, I head into my room to get dressed. I'm feeling pretty irritated, although I'm not sure if it's directed at him or at myself. A little bit of both, maybe. By the time I'm back in the common room, Lucas has his headphones on, so I just do some light reading. Before I go to bed, I inform him that I'll be out tomorrow. I don't lie about my purpose, although I don't mention whose funeral it really is. Lucas leaves early for an exam while I spend the morning making myself presentable. My head fur is being stubborn, so I spend a little while trying to get it into proper shape. I put on my suit and tie, and then just wait for Vince. About half an hour later, I get the message that he's almost here, so I head out. Morning, Nick. Vince is dressed for the occasion as well, his oversized biceps and shoulders bulging through the navy fabric of his suit as he grips the steering wheel. Morning. I hesitate, unsure if I should ride shotgun or leave the seat open for nieces. In the end, I decide to just get in the front seat. Surely being Vincent's mentee affords me some privileges. How are you feeling? Good. I mean, well, you know. Yeah, I think I do. I discover that Nieces lives around 5 blocks down from Grifton. He's waiting for us in front of an old-fashioned but decent-looking apartment building. The fox looks a little awkward, shoulders hunched and paws in his pants pockets. He brightens up a little when the car comes to a stop at the curb. Hey, you two. For the next 10 minutes, we drive in silence. I'm told the cemetery is about an hour away, just outside the southern suburbs. Nisa seems content to just gaze out the window, and Vince is focused on the road. I fidget with the buttons of my suit. So, I've been meaning to ask something. Yeah? What was Templar like? As a person? Vince gives me a sideways glance. He was a hero, through and through. The folks loved him for a reason, He was brave and strong, and he loved helping people. Always did what he did with a wide grin. He pauses, then laughs. I guess you wouldn't be able to tell with the helmet and all. But trust me, he loved doing what he did, saving people, helping, all of it. I guess that's kind of an image of Templar I had in my head. Even if it seems a little, boring? I turn my head to look at Frank, but he doesn't meet my eyes, instead gazing out the window. His voice is tinged with melancholy. He had this sense of conviction with whatever he did, like he always knew who he was and what he needed to do, no matter the situation. Rarely saw him hesitate, even when the circumstances were far from being black and white. Just dependable, solid. He lets out a long sigh at the end. I sit in silence. That's a lot to live up to. Unbound said that she doesn't expect me to. Well, more like she doesn't think that I can. It stings a little, but I guess it's up to me to try. I'm far from the steadfast, brave, heroic figure that Superfang and Nieces are describing. That Templar is dead. I'm just a shoddy substitute. But I do intend to try. I feel Nieces' paw on my shoulder. You'll be fine, Nick. Thanks, Frank. Saying his name feels more awkward than when I do it with Superfang. Don't think he minds, though. Yeah, at the risk of sounding cliche, you just don't know how awesome you are yet. He gives me his signature thumbs up, eliciting a chuckle from me. Guess I'll have to trust you on that one. Yes, put your faith in me. Oh, one other thing. Yeah? Well, I still don't know what the Baron looks like. Under the helmet, I mean. I'll point him out to you. You don't have to talk with him today, if you don't want to. No, it's fine. I think back to how many times I've seen Nieces and the Baron clash in the short time that I've known them. Do you guys, not get along? Vince gives me a nervous glance. We're fine, mostly. He's just been a little insufferable since, I don't know why, but I feel a pang of guilt in my chest, even though I know this isn't my fault. Again, don't worry about him. He'll chill out soon enough. Looking forward to it. He's a good person. Never said he wasn't. But, come on, Fang. Yes, he's a good person who sometimes is a complete ass. Vince's expression falls, but he doesn't argue back. After that, Vince and I chat a little more about Templar. Nieces is still lost in his own thoughts. I learned that Templar's real name was Michael O'Connor, and that he was an owner of a regular pub in the city. A remarkably unremarkable occupation for someone like him to have. Not that I knew him well enough to make that judgment. It's just that famous superhero who moonlights as a bartender seems a little incongruous. By then, we're in the flat suburbs south of Nova City, not run down, but a stark contrast to the lavish Magnolia Hills. Small, squat houses line the narrow roads as we weave through. Something occurs to me when we turn onto a street leading up to a cemetery. Did Templar's family know about the superhero stuff? Oh yes, they all did. I don't think Shannon does, actually. That's Michael's younger sister. Frank clarifies for my benefit. Really? Huh. Well, Sarah and Danny knew for sure. Danny was training to be the next Templar. Oh. Yeah. Damn. So that's Templar's son. Do they know about me? Yes, the Baron told them. Fuck. That's going to be awkward. Should I even talk to either of them? Seems kind of disrespectful if I didn't. Then again, Would they want to talk to me? I grow more nervous as we approach our destination. Several cars are packed outside the walled entrance to the cemetery. Vince stops his and we shuffle out onto the sidewalk. I don't spot any people. I guess everyone's already in there. The air is crisp for this time of year, even as the sun shines overhead. As Vince goes ahead of us, I notice Frank lingering, struggling with his tie, the knot having loosened sometime during our ride. Want some help? Sure. He looks awkwardly to the side while I fiddle with the tie. Dad is a stickler for proper dress, so I could do this with my eyes closed. There. All good. Sorry about that. Thanks, Nick. I give him a quizzical look. No worries. Frank looks at his watch. We're a bit late. Let's go. Vince is waiting for us just inside the middle gates. The cemetery is well maintained, polished stone and marble all around. As good a resting place as any. Spotting the small group that has gathered for Templar's funeral is easy, with nothing but low gravestones blocking line of sight. I take note of the family of badgers at once. The middle-aged female must be Sarah, which makes the tall and broad male Danny, and the young girl Shannon. On the approach, Frank nudges me and points to a tall albino rat standing next to the widow, rubbing her back with slow circular motions. So that's the Baron in black. Unbound stands towards the back. It's the first time that I've seen her without her mask, but since I know what to look for, recognizing her is easy enough. The three of us move to join her. The bear acknowledges our arrival with a nod. The priest, a short mouse, is reading from the scripture. I stand a bit to the side, letting the teammates mourn without me intruding. I feel out of place enough as it is. Besides the 4 sentinels, I don't know a single person here. I hate the thought that I was the last person who saw Templar, Mr. O'Connor, alive. Not his family, not his friends, not even his superhero teammates, but a random raccoon who just happened to be chilling in an abandoned condo in the hills. I couldn't even help him in the fight that killed him. And even then, he gave me his most valued possession. Staring at the casket that has yet to be lowered into the ground, I can't help but wonder if Templar, wherever he is now, regrets his last act. I guess it's up to me to make sure he won't. The priest finishes, and Danny steps forward to deliver the eulogy. The badger is stone-faced. I imagine he is trying his hardest to put on a stoic appearance. According to Vince, he turned 18 some months ago, and he's still a senior in high school. I can't imagine how hard this must be for him. Still, his voice doesn't crack once he speaks of his father. I'm startled to hear Vince sniffle next to me. He looks mortified as he tries to discreetly wipe his eyes with his sleeve. Tries because his size makes it rather hard to be discreet. Not that anyone is looking at him, besides me. Maybe he'd appreciate a small gesture of comfort? I think you're supposed to leave him alone. He doesn't need me right now. Bringing attention to his emotional state could just upset him more. I turn my attention back to the funeral. I try to focus on the young badger's words, but I can't stop staring at the hole in the ground. My mind is blank, a faint buzzing in my ears. I only look away when I realize Danny has finished delivering his eulogy. His younger sister is crying into her sleeve, with the Baron standing over her, paws on her shoulders. I take a quick look at nieces and Unbound. The fox is just staring at the ground, paws in his pockets again, jaw tight. Unbound looks more composed, although there is obvious sorrow in her expression. Vince seems to have recovered and is now observing the proceedings calmly, but his tense and uncomfortable posture gives his true mood away. They begin lowering the casket. I hang back as the rest of the small crowd gets closer. Rest in peace, Templar. I don't know why you picked me for this job, and I'm going to do my damn best. I made up my mind about that already. They start covering the grave in dirt, and several of the attendees start wandering away while others exchange brief words with Templar's family. The sentinels are all there now too, with the badgers. Vince gives all 3 a hug, his form trembling as he does so. I'm glad Templar's family has people like them around. The Baron hasn't left their side for even a moment. Again, I feel out of place. I think about just following some of the others to the gate, where I'll just wait for Vince and Frank. My plans are interrupted when I see the Baron is beckoning me with his paw while the O'Connors stare at me. Oh shit. I freeze, unsure what to do. I'm very much not prepared for this. I should have left sooner. What the hell was I thinking? It's not like I can just ignore this now. So I walk over, slow and awkward, feeling anxiety overtake me. I hear Vince speak to the girl. Hey Shannon, why don't we take a short walk together? I saw something cool the other day I wanted to tell you about. She nods dejectedly, and the two take their leave. The Baron adjusts his glasses and, at last, introduces me. Sarah, Daniel, this is Nick Saunders. I am very sorry for your loss. Sarah and her son regard me silently for several tense seconds. Then, to my surprise, the former gives me a slight smile. Thank you so much for coming, Nick. That was very nice of you. Michael would have appreciated it. Yes, of course, ma'am. I must be looking very dim right now, being so tongue-tied. The Baron opens his muzzle as if he intends to speak, but seems to reconsider. His expression is neutral, but I can still feel the weight of his gaze on me. It's as if he's telling me not to fuck it up. Danny suddenly speaks up, his voice low, almost a growl. Show it to me. Daniel. The bracelet. I grit my teeth. I can tell Sarah is about to say something again, but I decide I should do this. Fumbling to roll my sleeve, I reveal the reddish band on my wrist. This is the first time that I've seen it out in the sun, and it looks much more vibrant in this light. It had this dull color while I was indoors. Now, not so much. There's a brief moment of silence. Then Danny's muzzle contorts into an expression of rage. That's not yours. Take it off right now. He takes a step towards me, and despite myself, I cringe away. The badger may be a couple years younger, but his height and physique are imposing. Daniel, stop right this second. The tall badger rounds on his mother. It's mine, and he has no right to it. How can you? Tim, dear, would you please escort Daniel back to the car? I'd like a moment with Nick. The Baron nods, putting a paw on Danny's shoulder and pushing him to the path leading to the gates. Come on, kiddo. Despite his continuing protests, Daniel is led away. Frank, who stood at my side during the entire exchange, follows them, as does Unbound. I'm left alone with Templar's wife. I shuffle from one footpaw to the other. I'm very sorry, Miss O'Connor. Your son is right. Sarah frowns for a moment before smiling warmly at me again. You're not the one who should be apologizing, dear. I'm sure Daniel is just upset. I don't mean him, although my son owes you an apology for his behavior just now. I blink at her, not quite following what she's saying. Her smile fades and she sighs with obvious exhaustion. You should have never been put in this situation in the first place. I'm so sorry any of this is happening to you. I open my mouth, then realize that I don't know what to say and close it. I didn't expect this at all. I thought she'd be as angry as Danny, rightfully so. Would you mind walking with me a little? Yes, ma'am. Of course. We wander down the paved path between the rows of graves scattered in the grass. Sarah goes in the opposite direction from the gate. I'm reluctant to follow. Even with the chill, I feel stuffy and suffocated in my suit. A bird, maybe a crow, makes a noise somewhere nearby, hiding between the gravestones perhaps. Can you tell me what you saw that day? I skid to a stop. For a moment, I consider telling her that I'd much rather not. But I see a plea in her eyes that I just can't refuse. So I do as she asks. I tell her what happened, never going into details of the fight. How brutal it was, how viciously that wolf attacked her husband. the blows that shattered his armor and rained down on his exposed flesh. She doesn't need to hear any of that. I'll just let it flash in front of my eyes while I stare at my feet for the whole time I'm talking. When I look up, her eyes are full of tears. I'm so sorry, Miss O'Connor. I didn't mean to upset you. She shakes her head. No. Everything is all right. Thank you, Nick. I'm sorry. She wipes her eyes with a handkerchief I offer, letting out another sigh. It's so strange to see the bracelet on someone else. She stares off into the distance somewhere, but not for long, as her gaze snaps back to me. This is all incredibly unfair on you. I can't help but feel anger at myself and at Michael. How do you mean? Why would you be angry? Because he did this to you. You shouldn't, Miss O'Connor. He was a hero. I know, and I'll always be proud of who he was. Which doesn't change the fact that he had no right to inflict this burden on you. It was my decision to keep the bracelet. She nods. You are very brave. Not really. No, Nick, I mean it. After what you saw. Oh, Michael, I'd smack you if you were standing here right now. Please don't say that, Miss O'Connor. I'm sure he did what he did for a reason. Yes, I think so too. I suspect I know why. We had been talking lately. I was so anxious about having Danny inherit his power. He disagreed, of course, but maybe not as much as I thought. It's such a dangerous thing, and when he met you, someone the bracelet would accept? My heart sinks. What is she saying? That Templar gave me the bracelet so that his son wouldn't have to put himself in danger? Because Miss O'Connor was worried about what it would mean for their son? No, that's... Sarah must have noticed how much her words have unsettled me because she puts a paw on my elbow. I flinch. I'm sorry, Nick, if it's because of what I said to Michael. He shouldn't have done this, even if part of me is relieved. Because Daniel won't have to put himself in danger? She nods, her eyes brimming with tears again. I feel a little numb. I understand. Even so, I won't blame you if you... No, Miss O'Connor, I already decided. Even if what you said is true, I'm not going to change my mind now. I can't ask you to do that. It's so selfish and unfair. Danny has been training for this. My husband did a lot to prepare him. To then turn around and force it upon an innocent bystander. It's all right. I understand. Really, don't worry about it. She sniffles into the handkerchief, giving me a long, searching look. I meet her eyes this time. Thank you. Don't mention it. We turn around and head back, silent for the moment. As we approach the gate, I spot the Baron's white fur peeking over the stone wall surrounding the cemetery. Damn, he's tall. Sarah taps me on the shoulder. Listen, Nick, if there's anything you need, don't hesitate to reach out. You hear me? Michael asked a great deal, and it's only right for me to be there for you. If you need to talk, or you are in trouble and need a safe place, whatever it is, call me, or pay me a visit. Thank you, Miss O'Connor. I'm grateful for that, and I'll keep it in mind. She takes my phone to type in her number and address before we part ways. Over by his car, Vince is chatting with a female calico cat. Frank is standing near them, not participating in the conversation himself. I signal him to wait and instead head towards the rat. He acknowledges my approach with a nod. You have my number, right? Couldn't have warned me that you were going to tell Miss O'Connor about me? I wasn't about to hide what happened from them. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that I shouldn't have been blindsided by this. I assumed Champ or the Fox would warn you. They only mentioned it because I asked first. The rat works his jaw, no doubt coming up with some caustic response. I stare him down. Alright, you have a point there. Now, can we move on to more important matters? Grinding my teeth, I begrudgingly nod at his question. How did it go with Sarah? Fine. I can tell that he's waiting for me to elaborate, but when I don't, he just rolls his eyes. He then looks around as if to confirm nobody's close enough to overhear us. None of this is fine, but alright. There's something else that we will need to deal with sooner or later. The director of Spec is here. You don't have to talk with him, but you might as well now. Director of what? Superpowered Persons Engagement Commission. He's our liaison with the federal government. Oh, cool. But why would I want to talk with him? The Baron narrows his eyes. Haven't bothered to read the Cape Act? Hadn't occurred to me, no. Was I supposed to? Yes, memorize it. Anyway, if you intend to be a superhero, the head of the commission will need to learn your identity. Haha, yeah, right. This isn't negotiable, Raccoon. You're either registered with Spec or you're a vigilante, and Templar is not a goddamn outlaw. I run my fingers through the fur on my forehead. This is certainly a change of pace from the funeral. I'd be more annoyed with the rat right now for not telling me much sooner if I didn't know that the team had been too preoccupied with Templar's death to think of all this. It's a hell of a shitty thing to have just sprung on me like this, though. Ugh, fine. The Baron points out a tall husky, who I now notice had been speaking with Miss O'Connor just moments ago. As the badgers drive off, the dog turns to see us approaching. He looks older than the Baron, maybe around the same age as Templar had been. The American flag pin on his lapel catches the sun, blinding me for a brief moment. This is Gregory Johnston, Director of the Superpowered Persons Engagement Commission. Greg, this is Nick Saunders. He's the new Templar. Hi? Oh. The husky beams at me in that open and friendly manner dogs often do. He offers me a paw to shake. I hesitate only a second before taking it. Good to meet you, Nick. Surprised him let it happen. Been bugging him for days now. I give the Baron a puzzled look. I guess even he respects my privacy enough to not out me to the freaking government willy-nilly. Didn't extend the same courtesy regarding the O'Connors, but at least they had a right to know. Yeah, well, he hadn't decided until recently. Right. Anyway, is there more to whatever this is? Some bureaucracy, but you don't need to worry about that stuff right now. Your identity will be secure, of course. Only a select few have access to such information. We take our hero's safety very seriously. Great. I'll handle all of that on Nick's behalf, Greg. Just figured a quick introduction was in order. Of course. Then I'll be in touch soon, on this and other matters. If you don't mind, can Nick and I have a moment? Uh-oh, again? I can't tell if the Baron is surprised by the request. What is surprising, however, is that he looks at me for a reply. Sure. The rat nods and walks off. First of all, Nick, I must commend you on behalf of the federal government for deciding to take up this mantle. Should I politely indicate that I couldn't care less what the federal government thinks? This Gregory is starting to remind me of the military recruiter that came around to our high school. My dad, being a vet himself, was keen on me hearing the man out. Of course, that wasn't going to happen. Not then, not now. Thanks. Gregory must be catching on that I'm very much lacking in enthusiasm at the moment. He gives me a long look, his expression turning somber. It's a tragedy what happened with Michael. Still, we have to keep moving forward. We're all counting on you. I intend to do my best. I'm certain you do, and we at Spec are committed to ensuring our great heroes can get the job done. The Sentinels are an independent group, but I think you should consider a formal contract with us, Nick. Our support can be invaluable. There it is. I think I'll stick with the team, but thanks. A partnership with us won't preclude you from that. Still, I'll pass. To my great surprise, the husky shows no sign of frustration with me, instead, smiling again. This is obviously not the best time for this talk. We should meet again so that you can learn more. He hands me a business card. As tempted as I am to toss it, I pocket it before nodding at him. Is that all, then? For now, I hope to see you soon, Nick. Just don't go mentioning my name to anyone, alright? And good luck. Sure, thanks. Most everyone is gone by now, with just Vince and Frank in the car and the Baron watching me from the sidewalk. He beckons me with a gesture. There, done. What did he say? Wants to get me in some bullshit contract. I take it you refused? I snort in response. Not a flag licker then. Good. Although you better have stayed respectful. Gregory is not someone we can afford to antagonize. Oof, must be hard for you, with your shining personality. My comment is met with a slight narrowing of the rat's eyes. What's a flag licker anyway? Superheroes in government employ. Ugh. Yeah. Didn't know that was a thing. Read the news then. Okay, whatever. He said he wanted to meet up again. You'll have to, sooner or later, like it or not. Dealing with the government is going to become part of your life. I'd rather it be later then. The rat nods. Would help if you're not as clueless when it happens. Either way, we've kept the champ waiting long enough. He reaches into an inner pocket of his jacket and retrieves a simple USB stick. Some information that will be useful to you. Nothing incriminating, but still. Keep it to yourself and don't lose it. The password to the folder is Coon Job. Seriously? Yes, and read the damn Cape Act. You'll be in for it if I have to clean up any messes because you didn't know the law. I just wave him off, not bothering to say goodbye as I hurry to Vince's car. The Tiger doesn't immediately drive off as I get in. Instead, both he and Frank give me concerned looks. Everything alright, buddy? Yeah, all good. Saw you talking with Gregory. Did he make the pitch? Didn't give him much of an opportunity. Heh. What did Sarah say? I think about what I should tell them. Miss O'Connor wanted to speak with me alone. Then again, nothing we discussed was all that private. Maybe there would be no harm in telling these two? Should I? Nah. That seems like a very private thing to do. And I'm pretty sure Vince wouldn't like it. I'm pretty sure nieces would understand, but Vince wouldn't like it. She was very nice to me. Just sort of apologized, I guess? I don't say anything else, and even though I sense that nieces wants me to explain further, I just look away until I see him nod from the corner of my eye. All right. Shall we head back? Yes, let's. From there, we drive in silence. Frank has taken out his phone and is tapping at the screen. I'm a little curious what someone like him would find interesting on the internet. Nieces doesn't seem like the social media type, unlike Superfang, who has a widely popular Instafur account. He posts selfies all the time, whenever he's finished dealing with a crime or from the tops of skyscrapers. I spent some time yesterday browsing through his feed. It's quite endearing in a way. The other Sentinels just have fan pages and such, nothing official as far as I'm aware. Maybe they use stuff in their civilian guises, but I'm not about to start looking for Frank's account on Chipper. That could be interesting. Should I ask if he has one? No, that's dumb. My thoughts drift back to the conversation with Miss O'Connor. The more I ponder it, the more depressing it becomes. Wonder what the Baron thinks about all this. Would she tell him what she believes happened? Probably. He seems to be very close with Templar's family. Maybe it means he'll ease up on me, since I got the powers so that his friend's son would live a normal life. Except I know he won't, because he thinks Danny should have inherited the bracelet. Templar said he was sorry. Hmm, I guess I know what he meant now. He must have felt like he was throwing me under the bus. Or, well, I could have still refused, in which case nothing would change. But I could also do what I ended up doing anyway and relieve his son of the burden. In that light, his actions make sense. Ugh, if I carry on like this, these doubts are going to pursue me forever. Maybe it doesn't matter. It is what it is. As I told Miss O'Connor, I've already made up my mind. There's no point moping about. Speaking of moping, maybe I should try to lift the mood in the car somehow? No idea how, though, since I don't know either of them well enough. Which could be a starting point. Small talk to the rescue. Frank, do you also have, like, a civilian identity? The fox puts away his phone and looks at me with a half smile. Yeah, I need a driver's license, you know. That's not what I... Chuckling, Frank raises his paws. I know, I was joshing. Sorry to disappoint, but I'm jobless. Ah, is that bad? It's not great, I guess. What do you do in your free time then, assuming you take any breaks from all this superhero stuff? Been trying to learn to code. I'm a little bit annoyed at myself for thinking that it's no surprise that the Asian fox would be into that. Not that I'm about to voice that particular thought. Fancy yourself a little game dev? Nah. I hate those things. Vince laughs. I tried to get him to play a fighting game with me once. Should have seen the disgusted look I got. Michael, on the other hand, was all over it like a little kid. Imagining the three sentinels just chilling and playing a video game is somehow mind-boggling, yet heartwarming at the same time. The tiger is back to his cheerful self that I've grown so accustomed to by now. Nieces is smiling too, like he was the first time I saw him. I didn't expect my poor attempt at getting a conversation going to be such a resounding success. Even reminiscing about their fallen teammate doesn't seem to bother them. I'm a little shocked to learn that Templar could be quite a goofball at times. This one time, he told me Danny was starting to beat him at basketball, so we spent a whole day practicing until he was confident he'd stay the undefeated dad. I remember that. He was so pleased with himself. Too bad you both got in trouble with Unbound for shirking your patrol duties. The tiger winces at that. Guess the point is, Fang will go along with whatever dopey activity you come up with, so long as you present it right. Nieces winks at me as he says it. You know what? Scratch that. You don't even need to present it all that well. Hey, I'm not that easy to persuade. If you say so, big guy. Vince pouts as the fox and I laugh, then joins in himself. Ah, but seriously, try not to do stuff like that while Emma is around. She likes when we stay focused on what really matters. Duty and responsibility and such. What's her alter ego? Oh, she's the county prosecutor. Whoa. Yup. Wow. How does she find time to be a superhero too? The job makes sense though. I'm sure it takes just one look from those intense eyes for the criminals to confess everything. It makes my skin crawl, and I haven't even done anything wrong. Okay, I've done some things wrong, but those are too minor to get me in trouble with someone like her. Right? I doubt she cares to deal with minor acts of vandalism and trespassing. Besides, I've never been caught. Regardless, Unbound sure is scary. Hope I never get on her bad side. Either way, now that the mood is lighter, at least we chat away while Vince drives us through downtown. Frank asks to be dropped off a couple blocks down from his apartment building, saying he wants to take a short walk. When Vince rolls the car to a stop near Grifton, he pats my shoulder once before I get out. I'll be in touch soon. About our training, I mean. Nice. Looking forward to it, Vince. I wave goodbye as the tiger drives off. Back in our suite, I find myself alone, with Lucas likely at the library, studying for his exams. I should do some of that myself, but I don't feel like it right now. Now that I have a moment all to myself, I let my curiosity guide my actions. It's high time I gave this armor a proper test. Didn't work last time, but I was still healing up, so maybe that's why? The Baron mentioned it would repair my body first, the armor second. Should have been enough time by now, I hope. But first, I lock my room, hide my laptop so the NSA doesn't get any ideas, and make sure the blinds are closed. Then I clear as much space in the middle of the room as I can. Admittedly, this isn't the best place to be doing this, but then again, what would be? I could try to sneak out onto the roof. Come to think of it, I will need to find a safe spot at the college where I can take off unseen, won't I? I'll worry about that later. Into my mental checklist it goes. First, the armor. Feeling a little dorky as I stand there, arm upraised, I nevertheless try to concentrate on the task at hand. The figure depicted in the center of the patterns draws my eyes, so I stare at it, envisioning myself as the warrior clad in Templar's armor. I just need to fight the small voice in my head that says it's silly to imagine myself like that. I can fight just fine, bitch. Yup, take blows, swing that mace around, drop some supervillains. I can do it. Wouldn't be wearing this thing otherwise. As if reacting to my thoughts, the bracelet vibrates, for sure this time, and then glows red, blinding me for a moment. Then, starting with my right arm, the armor starts forming right out of thin air, translucent shapes solidifying into familiar forms as the gauntlet spreads up my hand and wrist. Whoa. I stand there as more and more of my body is covered, spreading from my right side to the left, the armor startlingly light compared to what I had been expecting. As the helmet forms, I close my eyes, but the pressure is light, and when I look again, the field of view through the slits remains much wider than I would have thought. It takes a few seconds to form in full, seconds that I keep my body frozen in place. When I move, it's, once again, oddly easy. The only discomfort I feel is from my tail squished up against my back. My clothes aren't gone, but even then my fur is enough of a cushion between my skin and the metal. I flex my fingers, fold my arms, and take several steps around the room. The glow from my armor throws a soft red light around the room. After spending several minutes just testing my movements, it occurs to me to look in the mirror at last, and my eyes open wide at the sight. It's still very much Templar's armor, but the shapes have changed somewhat. The helmet in particular looks different with much sharper angles. Even the plume is missing. Huh. I can't deny it looks hella cool. Just a bit different. Guess the public will have to get used to that. After more time spent examining myself in the mirror, I turn around and step to the center of the room again. Do I feel stronger? I kinda do. I test my theory. I slide my palm under the bed frame and lift. It's not a stark difference, but there's an undeniable increase in strength there. Awesome. Now then, time to see if I can figure out this whole flying thing. As I concentrate on what I want to do, the light on the greaves and around my heels intensifies, and I start to float up. Holy crap! It's just several inches off the floor, but I quickly find that it's difficult to hold my balance and start flailing with my arms as I laugh. Awesome. This is fucking awesome. Fuck it, I should go outside and try this shit for real. I'd go find some crime to stop if I wasn't supposed to be keeping a low profile, but doesn't mean I can't fly around, right? I could. Yo Nick, wanna come for dinner? Lucas's voice sends me crashing back to reality. And to the floor as well, as my concentration slips and I drop with a resounding cling. Dude, you okay in there? Yeah, drop my backpack. Oh, alright. So, dinner? Nah, I'm gonna eat late. Go ahead without me. I lie on the floor for a bit, heart pounding against my chest. I can't restrain a giggle though. Alright, maybe I should be more cautious, but this shit is, to put it bluntly, really freaking cool. I roll to the side and will the armor to disappear. It does, much quicker than it formed, and I'm left staring at the bracelet. Yeah, I can definitely work with this. My fur is matted and I've become a little sweaty, but I couldn't care less. I'm practically vibrating with excitement. How do others actually expect me to sit around and study when I have this? Okay, calm down. I can't go out yet. Even if I'm half tempted to throw open the window and try this flying thing out, properly this time, the time for that will come soon enough. I pace around the room, grinning from ear to ear, while I wait for my heartbeat to subside. I should do something productive. I decide to look up Gregory on my phone. As expected, he's not officially listed as the director of spec. Searching for the Baron's civilian identity is much more fruitful, since there aren't many albino rats in Nova named Tim, and the results aren't surprising in the least. Rich boy from a billionaire family. Shocker. I'll look into him more later. I take a quick look at the Cape Act too, but slogging through the legalese is a quick reminder of why I never considered a career in law. I try to extract the main points at least. Anyone with superpowers who intends to use them to fight crime needs to register with the government. Use of powers on foreign soil is banned. Superheroes can be held accountable for property damage or excessive use of force, yada yada. As I feel my eyes glaze over, I close the tab and retrieve the USB drive the rat gave me, curious to find out what information he deigned to share. Plugging it into my tablet, I dismiss the notifications, open the new folder, and enter the password the Baron gave me. Rows and rows of files scroll across the screen. Most of them are dossiers on what I presume to be various supervillains of the West Coast. Fiasco Fox, Flicker, General Gesselt, Gorgon, Hellhound, Lady Winter, Ketsmith, Calamity, Kaiser, Jovial J, Lyra, blah, 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 Master Alabaster, Miss Click, Null Zero, Raging Robin, Ragnarok, Panzer Possum, Ogre. Some names I see are familiar, minor crooks that got their day in the limelight before being promptly jailed or forced into hiding. And some so famous, I'm surprised he even bothered including them here. Even preschoolers know Lady Winter. Or hell, Flicker is practically a historic figure, even if nobody's quite sure if they're even sentient anymore, seeing as how they're a being of pure energy now. Just wandering the desolation in New Mexico, like some kind of silent guardian, according to the Baron's notes. They occasionally make their way west, though. I keep scrolling. For now, I only open the dossier that catches my eye. Besides general information, the Baron has included notes on countering powers, a detailed list of criminal activity, and full reports of encounters with supervillains. He doesn't spare any snark in his notes, either. Not that it's unwarranted. Some of these people have picked truly atrocious aliases. I'm surprised to see some individuals that have no criminal record. The Baron has listed information on so-called vigilantes too. Guess they're subject to arrest because they won't abide by the Cape Act. Does he expect me to try and bring them in if I encounter one? Fuck that shit. More dossiers. And there it is. The Black Wolf. My heart skips a beat, and I feel a spike of anxiety drive itself through my stomach. I can fight. I can fight. There's no reason to be this afraid. Vince is there to protect me. Just breathe. I'll be just fine. I sit there, rubbing my forehead, repeating the words like a mantra. All of my earlier exhilaration is gone, replaced by a mounting dread. Fuck. No, this is stupid. There are people far scarier on the Baron's list. It's just some asshole wolf with a glowing fist. He probably took Templar by surprise. At best, I'll never have to deal with him myself, and if worse comes to worse, I'll pull through. No, more than that, I'll kick his fucking ass. With this, I can do it. The armor reforms around me and brings with it the sense of security I so desperately need right now. Yeah, sure, I've seen it broken, but it's whole now, and it can protect me. It will protect me. Whatever comes, I'll be ready. I dismiss it again, not feeling any calmer, but at least a little reassured. Still, I need to somehow work this energy off. Exercise will do me some good. After a quick change of clothes, I'm out on the quad, stretching before my run. And I'm off. No music, just the street ambience, the pounding of my pulse in my ears. I can do it. I'm not running away. If that canine bastard appeared in front of me right now, I'd rush straight at him, tackle him to the ground, beat him senseless. Fuck you, Wolf. That's right, I'm not scared. I've no reason to be. I'm Templar now. By the time my legs are on fire and I'm out of breath, I've covered several miles in a wide circle around the college. Whipping the sweat off my forehead, I lean against a brick wall and close my eyes. My phone buzzes in my pocket. A message from Superfang. Free Wednesday night? Think it's time we got this rolling. Yes. What do you have in mind? Think a tour of the city wouldn't go amiss. Vince, I've lived in Nova all my life. Trust me, you haven't seen the city like this. What, gonna take me on a magic carpet ride? Lol. Yes, a whole new world. Fine, Wednesday night it is then. Great, can't wait. I forgot you had to close it. Still panting, I grin after the text exchange. Yeah, alright. Now this is what I'm fucking talking about. Only 2 days to go. This will be fun. Will it? To be continued. So, there you have it, guys. At least up to what is currently available for Supernova. Well, thank you for reading. Consider supporting us on Patreon and joining our Discord server. Special thanks to our Sentinel of Nova tiers. Adelwin, blah 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 blah. Until next time. There we go. Okay, so there it is. That's what's currently available for Supernova as of March 9, when I'm recording this third episode. So, what do you guys think so far? Are you happy I picked Superfang? Or would you have rather I pick Nisus or the Baron in Black? And again, I still stand that the Baron in Black is probably the better choice because he's the seasoned superhero, even though he's the ass. And he, thinking about it now, gives off like Batman vibes because he probably doesn't have any superpowers of himself, but he's rich and he uses that money as, you know, to build his gadgets and stuff like that. I still want to know what Nisus's powers are. We know Unbound can, you know, basically walk through walls, and Superfang is probably like super strong and can probably fly. But yeah. So now we know that Nick has his armor, then he can summon it. And I guess we can just wait and see what happens when he gets into his first fight. And it kind of gives me like Iron Man vibes, where like the armor gives him strength to do certain things that he himself cannot do, and he can fly by using like some sort of propulsion that the armor, you know, makes, and sort of like Iron Man armor. So yeah, I guess we're gonna have to see what happens though, and how it all works out when he fights his first supervillain. I thought it was gonna be where he was saying like, oh, if the guy like is like in front of me right now, then I'm gonna beat him up. And I half expected the wolf to like literally just walk right in front of him and then having him get like a panic attack or something. But yeah. Anywho, so yeah, what do you guys think? Write it down in the comments. And this is going to be the first superhero visual novel that I do, because Glory Hounds will eventually release, and that's going to be the second one. That one's going to have a bit more of a comic feel to it, and it's going to be episodic, so every update is supposed to have a contained story. I mean, it's probably going to be like an overarching story, but it's going to be like a comic, basically, but with contained stories. So, you know, there's going to be more superhero content on this channel. Woo! For those people that like that. I like superheroes. I like tigers, so that works out for me. So yeah. So anywho, thank you all for watching / listening. If you would like to play Supernova yourself, you can find it over on itch. and you can find a direct link to it on the developers' pages. And as you can see, they have a Discord and a Patreon, which you can subscribe to for early access to, I'm assuming, builds of this? I'm assuming that's how you guys work too? How everyone else works? And I guess that's it for now, and I will see you guys in the next episode. So, bye-bye.